Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us live on a Monday. Sure, a lot of people in Las Vegas and throughout the state of Nevada, they want to know, when can they go back to work? When are things reopening? As you know, Governor Sisolak has us in quarantine until at least minimum May 1st. So joining us on the line right now, we had Oscar Goodman on the phone last week. He comes on the show all the time. I love Oscar, and I told him I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And, of course, his wife, Carolyn Goodman, who is the mayor of Las Vegas, and she was nice enough to take some time to join us now. Mayor Goodman, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm fine, and I love my husband. I hope you had a good time with him. He's just hysterical and kept my life happy and wonderful.
Yeah, Oscar certainly is the best. And, he said beef, booze, and broads dinner on him next time once this is all over with.
He did say that.
So, Carolyn, he did say that. Carolyn, I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, a lot of serious questions to ask you, but I want to start off with this. It's a loaded question. And, you had said that Sisolak's, in quarantine till the 1st, that you quoted it as insane. Can you please elaborate on that? Tell us what you mean by that, and what is your solution to this issue?
Well, of course, I didn't say I had a solution, so let me go to the back part first. And the reality is why I particularly chose that, and having been here all these years and watched us grow from a town of 75,000 to 2.3 million and become a world-recognized entertainment, sports, convention place that was not broken. The reason our hotels and everything in Southern Nevada in our industry of hospitality has been so successful and continuing to be so is because our rooms are clean, our kitchens are clean, we inspect them, there are laws. We're about making sure we are always on top of everything. And when I said it was insane, number one, it was because it wasn't broken. And yes, horrible. This disease, horrible. I lived through the polio epidemic, and most of your listeners weren't even alive then, where people were crippled. They had no idea, or they lost their lives, and they had no idea what caused it, how to prevent it, how to treat it, or it took till 1955 before the Salk vaccine was developed. And
right.
We've been through the Nile, the SARS, the bird flu, the swine flu, Ebola. There's so many, and we've never closed down Nevada or Las Vegas. I am not in a business to make judgment on any state or any community except our own. Number one, as soon as we found out this was a senior-focused disease, virus, killer, all efforts should have gone into every single senior facility and every public senior facility to make them aware and to give them whatever support. As far as our first responders, they do this every day of their lives. They're in the hospitals, they're in the emergency rooms, they're across our community taking care of emergency medical issues. They are the best, the nurses, the technicians, our doctors, their management.
Sure.
And so to single them out at this point, yes, we owe them everything, and yes,
Absolutely.
every light lost. But the key is this was not broken. What has happened, as of the end of January, we had 15,000 homeless children. With this shutdown, every middle-income or lower-income individual who relies on the hospitality industry to pay their bills and feed their families are out of work.
Mayor, I understand.
And that's it. That was the insanity.
Okay,
you have
no,
to
listen.
Look at the whole. You don't take a big paintbrush and paint the whole canvas.
No, I understand.
Black.
Okay, but Mayor, I understand what you're saying, and a lot of what you said, especially with the first responders and I totally agree with you. But here's the thing. The situation, and I know you know this, the president and his administration are talking. There's a reason why social distancing is in place right now, because we don't know how many asymptomatic people are out there. I'm sure you would agree we don't have enough testing. So with that being said, no matter how clean a room is or a bed is, you of all people, you know this, Mayor, you can still get the virus from somebody that may be asymptomatic.
It's
so
out
with that,
in the air, the West Nile virus came from mosquitoes. Dr. Fauci, who's the number one lead for the country on this very, very virus, has said, we don't know if it's going to be controlled in a month, in 3 months, by the end of the year, and if it's not going to come back every year. We have the flu every year. Seniors and elderly people, they have compromised bodies. That's what happens when you get old, and I'm old. I cannot run around the block like I used to when I was 25 or 30.
Not according to your husband. That's not what he told me.
But the reality is, we are susceptible, and I always remember as a child growing up my fear for my grandparents that if they fell, they would break a hip, they'd go to the hospital, and once they're in the hospital, the broken hip, they get pneumonia and they die. And so the fear and the love that everybody has for their parents and their grandparents is, you can't even measure it. It's a tragedy to lose any of them.
But Mayor, you understand.
Kill the whole economy and put out more children out on the street because their parents no longer have jobs. They are in week-to-week paychecks. And we're looking idly down there at the small businessman who has his life saving or her life saving and has become an esthetician, a barber, has a little tavern. And we're just summarily closing them down when they weren't broken. And they knew, because we inspect them, there are laws, there are licenses that they have to keep up, and we're out there. There's a lady named Darcy Spears who has a program, and she comes on our show every week, yes, looking for cockroaches, and I'm sorry to give another channel or anybody else the go. But this is a community that we have worked so hard to build, and you can't take a paintbrush and paint, and I'm not talking any other state. We alone, our premier industry is hospitality, and
I understand. Listen, there's no question that you're right. Local businesses are suffering. Local people are suffering. I don't doubt that, Mayor. I guess I'm going around in a circle here, but I'll ask you the same thing. If the doctors and the scientists are saying it's still not safe to be out there, what would you rather have? Somebody who loses their job or somebody who loses their life?
Excuse me. Sorry, not going there. I have doctors telling me differently. I have doctors, and I'm not going to hang them out there. I have people out there saying, with proper, as you raise your children, if you have children, if you raise your children, you put them in school, and in kindergarten they come home with every germ, and it goes right through your whole family, and you're all down, usually with the flu or some derivative thereof. You do not stop living, and you do not take a paintbrush and paint everything awful. What's happened in this country, though, is we have become so polarized between this Democratic and Republican garbage that everybody's so full of anger and hate and entitlement, and that is wrong. This is about pulling together, being wise, being smart, and not killing this community, of which I happen to have a small role in, and the governor, and I defer to him. I wouldn't want his position. It is a terribly difficult, challenging, horrible decision to have to make. He's doing his best. I have always said to him, please open the economy. It wasn't broken. These people need to live and have a paycheck to buy groceries, take care of their family, and have a roof over their heads. How about all these people who are demanded to stay home and they don't have a home? Where are they supposed to stay? They're going to be part of our homeless population. They're living in somebody's car in close quarters. So we're not helping anybody. We need our economy open and healthy, and that's what Las Vegas does. That's why we have all these conventions. That's why we have all these people wanting to come here. That's why we are now a home for major league sports, and that's why everybody loves Las Vegas. It kills me. My heart breaks for everyone we've lost, and our doctors and nurses and technicians and custodial staff that are helping to keep our hospitals healthy and clean in this pandemic. They've been doing this their whole lives. What do you think they're doing? All of a sudden, they're running into the hospitals? No, they got us through 1 October. They've gotten us through every other flu case.
But I'm sure you would agree it's not, Mayor, I'm sure you would agree it's not your position that we should be having conventions right now, right? Because I know you mentioned, I'm sure you would agree right now is probably not the time for that, right?
I'm not going to go to that spot because what I'm about, and if I get off and go other places talking with you, and pardon me because I am very passionate. I live.
No, that's fine.
As you should be.
And you have no idea. I have 3 full-time staff here, and all they do all the time is answer calls from panicked, distressed people who can't earn a living, who can't get through to get a loan and unemployment. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were at 300,000 people trying to get into the unemployment area, and we're more closer to 900,000.
No, and I respect that, Mayor. I respect that. I said I respect that a great deal.
If you're respecting it, there has to be a way to get started. We need a plan, and that's all I've asked the government.
But, Mayor, I don't think it's that simple, Mayor. And by the way, I'm a co-host on the show, but my full-time job is actually on the Strip in hospitality. So this is something that strikes right to me and to thousands of other workers on the Las Vegas Strip. And, look, I have a simple question for you, and that's this. And, look, it's all due respect to you, but who are you listening to when you're making statements that you're saying that's insanity, that we're not open? Who are the public officials? Who are the people that you are taking advice from when you have that perspective?
I love your question. Let's go to the very top that everybody hears, Dr. Fauci. When he said there are variations to this virus, that we don't know if we're going to see a dip. We don't know if it's going to be here in 1 month, 3 months, through the end of the year.
Right.
If it's not going to be, this is Dr. Fauci.
But
Right.
Dr. Fauci's,
let me
but Ms. Mayor,
Hold
Dr.
on.
Fauci's on board with
Let me finish.
shutting the country down, though.
No, you can't shout me on this because Dr. Fauci is the guru.
Exactly.
And he is saying it could be here through December.
But he's on board.
and
Dr. Fauci's on board,
and
though,
Mayor Goodman,
with us having the country closed down.
No.
He's on board
But
with that.
Doctor, when you ask who's telling me, I went to the very top that everybody's listening to. Whether he's good, bad, or indifferent, that's not my call. He's the man, and he's telling us it could be through December. You keep us in quarantine or restrictions and don't let the private sector open up and put our people back to work. The results are insanity of what it's going to do to this place. Total insanity.
I totally agree with you on that. I also think that the paycheck protection program not being extended, that extra $250 billion will have a lot of poor effects on the small business that you mentioned as well.
$350 million swallowed up in hours.
Yep,
There's nothing left. What are these people? We started off in January with 15,000 homeless children. What about these children now that won't have a roof over their heads and they're quarantined to home? What home? What home are you going to put more than 15,000 kids in? And who's going to feed them, pray tell? Their parents are out of work and desperate and calling this office, and we have no power to change anything.
How high do you think that the unemployment in Las Vegas could possibly get if we stayed shut until, we'll say, June 1st?
May I tell you, we had born and raised in this city a fabulous statistician whose name is Jeremy Aguero. You want to get some facts and estimations based on fact, not hearsay and made-up garbage, which is what we always listen to.
Right.
Ask Jeremy Aguero.
Mayor Goodman, I want to play you a little bit of audio, if I may, from yesterday's press conference. It was Las Vegas Review-Journal White House correspondent Deborah Saunders. She asked the president to comment on Governor Sisolak's closures, and you were mentioned in this as well. I just want to play this audio for you, Mayor, if I may, and then I want you to comment on it. Here it is.
Well, they shut one of my hotels down, too. Okay, so, I'm not involved in that. I could be if I wanted to. I just chose not to be. By the way, just so you know, I could be if I wanted to, but I chose not. But they closed a very big hotel that I have in Nevada down in Las Vegas. It's a very severe step he took. I'm okay with it. But, you could call that one either way. I know the mayor's very upset with it. Some owners are very upset with it. Some of the developers out there are very upset. Others they say, hey, we got to get rid of it. I can see both sides of that.
So, Mayor Goodman, your thoughts on that?
I love that the president has a plan. Open America, again, I think it's called, but I'm not sure. He has a plan. He has hope. He has something for all of these private small business people and barbers and estheticians and everybody have a plan of hope so they can open again and feed their families. And so I'm so positive, and I was so proud that he said, and I'm going to give it back to each governor, because every state's different. Nevada is, I grew up in the heart of Manhattan. I rode subways to work every day. I was on buses. You can't get away from people. You go up to your apartment, you're in an elevator with 10 people. You can't get away from people in New York City. Nevada.
Mayor, I
New
know.
York City is 5 boroughs, 12 million people.
Right.
The state of New York, rather, is 12 million people in the 5 boroughs and 20 million in the state of New York.
Mayor, I know that you.
Nevada is 3 million people. And
Sure.
This is different. We are entirely focused on hospitality and unskilled workers.
No,
This
I understand
is
that.
not fair.
Mayor,
This is
I
not
understand
fair.
that. Mayor, listen, if I can just say this, I know that your heart is in the right place, and I appreciate you for being as passionate as you are. I've always said you had very similar characteristics to your husband when it comes to that. I know you both love this city, and I know you love the people in this city. With that being said, you can tell me if you think I'm wrong on this one. I have been highly critical of the people that have been protesting throughout the country. Let's just focus on Las Vegas for this reason. They're not practicing social distance. They're putting other people in harm's way. We don't know if they're asymptomatic. And Mayor, quite frankly, I think it's very irresponsible of our citizens to not abide by the rules and regulations that our president and his administration have put into place. So my question to you is, what do you make of these protesters, and what would you say to those protesters that are not practicing social distance?
From my earliest youth, I was taught to believe that this is the United States of America. And a lot of people sacrificed their lives so that we could be alive today and free. The First Amendment says freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of the right to assemble. Do I blame them for their passion? Their passion is because they're desperate. They are desperate people that don't have the dollars to pay their bills or feed their families. That's all that is an expression. Do you think each one of them didn't know by how they were raised that when you cough, you put your hand over your mouth or your head in your arm? Do you think these people don't care about good health and hygiene? But maybe they don't have a job anymore, and they are down at their knees, and everybody only has one voice, one opportunity, and they can't quarantine because they don't have an apartment or a place to live, for heaven's sakes. Doesn't anybody understand this? And I'm not speaking around this country. That's not my right. I am speaking here in the bully pulpit for Southern Nevada, and I am not even really entitled to do that. I can speak as mayor of Las Vegas, Nevada, that's known worldwide as a place to meet, have fun, and take care of business as it should be taken care of in a hospitable, legal, healthy manner. And that's all I'm allowed. I criticize no one, and I will not criticize those people who have gathered together saying, for heaven's sakes, let me work. They're not advocating for riots or anything. They're advocating for the right to go back and work and support their children.
Most of them are. I completely agree with you, and I didn't see any irresponsible signs in Las Vegas. There were some pretty bad signs that were written in other states. I'm not going to talk about that because that shouldn't concern you. You're here in Las Vegas. Let me ask you this. Do you think, with everything that you know, and I'm just asking for your opinion, Mayor, I know it's not your decision, do you think that the Strip will be open May 1st? What do you see happening down the road here as the mayor of Las Vegas? How do you see it from your opinion? And I know it's not going to be your ultimate decision. Do you think the Strip will open May 1st?
Not just the Strip, though.
Everything. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is going to happen, Mayor? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask you.
Or what do you think should happen?
We have 155,000 hotel rooms. There are 20 minutes to get to the airport. They're minutes away from the I-15 from Southern California, the I-11 going to Arizona. We go clear across the country. Produce coming in from California is trying to get across this country to the people so they have food. They're throwing food away because the hotels and their restaurants aren't open. And the small businessman's restaurant is not open. They are being crippled. Our farmers in California are being crippled by this closure. My hope would be that the governor will see a way, with good reason, letting the private owner suggest the ways they want to open and they will protect society. That is my hope and prayer, that all of Southern Nevada, relying on the private business owner in a competitive world, will know the people aren't coming back to their hotel or their restaurant or their barbershop if in fact they're dirty or there's disease. So let the private sector, and my hope is my people here in the city of Las Vegas, they have their plans. The day it was shut down, they had plans of what they would do. Let them have the opportunity and get people back to take care of these children. Let's concentrate on keeping clean water and clean air and fixing our hospitals so they're better prepared the next time, because there will be a next time. How stupid of us to get in this argument of Democrats and Republicans and hate each other so much that we forgot to look at our hospitals and health care. And we are looking at our safety measures all the time in the city. And now, without our people being able to work and help pay their sales tax and their property tax, we don't have the money to do that as a public government. This is so far-reaching is why it's insanity. You do not put things in place unless you have a plan already in place to fix it or fund it. The
Understood,
government
Mayor.
of the United States cannot keep printing money and give it away to
I understand.
support what's down and out, because eventually they won't be able to survive paying it back, and this is our country.
Mayor, let me just say this.
Far-reaching. I think you've had enough of me.
No, not at all.
Let me tell you, there are no more answers, and I think you better talk to each other, because in truth, I mean, look what our Golden Knights are doing. Look what even our new Las Vegas Raiders and our WNBA and our Las Vegas Lights. Look at how everybody's jumping together and helping. Isn't it unreal what our city is doing?
I agree with you.
And we have
the Knights,
been the best.
All these organizations have donated so much money. The Knights, we've had their organization.
Three Square, Catholic Charities, Salvation Army.
No question. Mayor, unfortunately, I'm up against a hard break, but I just want to thank you so much for your passion and answering all of our questions honestly. I appreciate you. I always have appreciated you and your husband. We hope we can have you on again down the road, but thank you so much for your time. It's such a busy, stressful time for you. I'm sure you're doing a good job, and we appreciate you coming on, Mayor Goodman. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, J.D. and Brian. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. There you go.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
It's Mayor Mayor Carolyn Goodman joining us on the line. We're going to have reaction to that when we come back. She's a very passionate lady. I certainly give her credit for that. I don't agree with everything she said. Let's break that down coming back. Your thoughts on my interview right there, our interview with Mayor Carolyn Goodman. 257-5396.
No, it was yours.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, your reaction to Carolyn Goodman. You're listening to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.